All right. So it is obviously not Thursday yet, but I am not going to be able to sign up for quarterfinals this year with my schedule and watching my son. So I figured I would do them early, make some videos, give some tips, and help everybody else out and still get to participate. Clearly not during the legal time frame, but I'm not posting any scores, so don't freak out. I'm doing these to help you guys not to cheat. You will not see my name on the leaderboard. So workout one here. Got it all set up, got my tape line measured out. I checked the standards. There's no requirement for where you put the barbell. They have a suggestion for safety if you're running heats to keep bars 10 feet apart, but no real requirement there. There was another tape line on the floor from, I think, the 20-foot length. So I measured out. I've got a red tape line down there, white tape line here. So you're watching a 37-year-old dad who qualified worldwide in the 92nd percentile. In the past, I've finished as high as the 97th, almost 98th percentile in my best years in the open, training a lot more consistently. Now I'm like 3 to 4 days a week, just depending on life. Was sick right after the open, so coming back from that. But this workout, I don't think that really affected me too much because it kind of plays to my skill set. So what stuff am I good at? What stuff am I bad at? So I can help this, so you can make this kind of relevant to your attempt. So if you're in that, I don't know, 85 to 95 zone, depends on your skills. This might be a good relevant video. If you squeaked in at 75%, maybe you can learn to pace a little bit more than I did. Or if you're above that top 95th percentile, you're probably way faster than this. But again, you're just going to put the hammer down more than I would because you're way fitter than me. So I pushed the shuttle runs for like 5 or 6 of them for myself, my push pace, and then I kind of tapered back, ran straight to the bar, squat snatch, and then into overhead squats with a clear hip opening and pause at the top to pace myself a little bit. I am not fit enough to make this an all-out full send like we were talking about last night on the CrossFit Games update show, the quarterfinal review, right? Taylor was talking about this is just a full send for those top athletes. That's not me, 92nd percentile. I am very good overhead with overhead endurance and mobility. So I have a narrow grip here, more narrow than my snatch grip. It makes it easier on my shoulders. I tend to do some of my best open workouts ever are overhead squat workouts. So this is something just keep in mind that if you struggle, you're only moderately confident, you might need to go slow like I did, very controlled cadence. You don't want to sprint those. Obviously, if you guys are in the running for cash, you should make sure your standards are super legit so you don't get no rep on opening your hips at the top and getting depth. So then I did all 20, smooth pace, and decided to push it on the burpees for, again, my push burpee pace. And then as I was going through these, I think it was like somewhere around the 10 to 14 rep mark. I was like, okay, these burpees are really going to add up. They're going to get tough. Not only do I have this 30, I get 1 minute break. I'm pretty good at recovering in interval workouts, but that second set of 30 I know is going to hurt. I'm going to want to be ready to lean into those burpees because pushing faster here might lead to me slowing down more in the second half of the workout here. So I was doing my best to stay relatively low, not the lowest that I can. You can see I'm starting to get into a little bit of that worm burpee. It's not my fastest burpee pace, but truthfully, off of the overhead squat, I didn't feel my legs during, but they felt a little heavy afterwards. Really no big shoulder fatigue that came from the overhead squats for me. For others, that might be something that you do feel is a little more shoulder fatigue, but I think it's more of an issue on the second set after you've done the 60 burpees at whatever pace that you're at there. So kind of rolling through our burpees here. I believe my split was 344. We'll fast forward a little bit. You're just watching me do burpees. You're not going to learn anything. Cool. So 344, you can't see the clock over there. I'm heading over to talk to my judge. He's 15 months old. He needed help eating his fruit pouch. Yeah, so I would recommend getting a judge that speaks English and doesn't poop in their pants, but that's what I had today, right? So no judge, no official score. This is just where we're at. We got my son today, hoping that he let me finish the whole workout, which he did. But on the minute rest, I was thinking, okay, cool. Heart rate's up, legs, a little bit of burning, but I'm going to go ahead and give the burpees like maybe a little less push than I thought. I told myself I was going to really get after the workout to give a good case for like coming out hot, pushing it for you guys, for someone who is 92nd percentile, not, an elite. And I think that I got into it and was like, I'm a better pacer. If I go too hard in this first half and just sell out, it's going to be brutal in the second half. So as we get into the second burpees, obviously minute of rest, you're going to be feeling a little bit rejuvenated. So I'm again trying to stay pretty low, but not the lowest that I can. and keep a pretty smooth cadence here. But you're going to see I just start to kind of hurt a little bit. And then as I'm going through, we'll just jump ahead a little bit. Again, it's just burpees. I was going steady, and then I even slowed up on my last like 2 or 3 burpees. That might be the one thing that I regret on this workout because of my skill set, being that the overhead squat is like my best part of this workout. That's not going to be the case for I think most people in the world, but for me, that's my strength is overhead endurance. You can breathe very well in overhead squats if you have that mobility and the shoulders lock into place. So I knew that I would almost recover and be okay. I probably could have kept the hammer down. You could see me like taking a pathetic little burpee nap, a little pause, feeling bad for myself. Again, just skipping ahead. So that's where I think maybe I gave myself too much time slowing down here. We're getting into some of those real nasty grief burpees. This was like talking myself into, okay, you can take it a little bit slower, take an extra second on these last couple burpees. I think we're approaching the last few. Yeah, and then you're going to put hands on the bar. So I stepped back, tried to say hands on the bar, go. I dropped into my low setup position and took an extra breath from what I really wanted, knowing that from here on out, it's going to be unbroken or bust on my squats, and then you're going to give it whatever you got on the shuttle runs, which, spoiler, wasn't a lot. So definitely at this point in the workout, shoulders, a little bit of fatigue, legs, tingling a little bit. They're a little heavy, but honestly, they felt the heaviest after each set of squats. You're going to see that here in a minute. And it was more just for me, just lung/heart rate, right? Just managing the lactic acid of working out at this pace. I did not warm up super properly. Again, I just rushed in with my son, kind of got things going, did more joint mobilization. You should be doing some sort of metabolic primer for this workout. I did not do that, so I definitely paid for it in the burpees. And definitely at the end here, you'll see shoulders are getting a little bit tighter. You can see I'm like in a crooked overhead stance here, just probably from, again, not warming up quite enough. So we hit our 20, and then it's go time, final 10 shuttle laps. I was hoping to let the legs flush out for a couple, and I'm giving it my all right here, and it's not that fast. So this is where definitely after those squats, if you hold on, you go unbroken. You got to give it whatever you have. For me this year with my fitness where I'm at, this is what I had. It wasn't anything impressive. I didn't give it the optimal warm up, but gave it a little oomph. We'll skip ahead. You don't need to see me doing more shuttle runs, and came across the line at 9:24. Yeah, because I was 3:44 on the first half, minute rest to 4:44. So I went like 3:40, 45-ish, and then like a 4:40-ish, right? So like 3:40, 4:40, about a minute slower, giving it a pretty good push on the first half, maybe a little bit more.